In this segment, I will give you some suggestions as to how you can achieve the Magento Certified Front-End Developer certification. I would give this test a difficulty of maybe 5 out of 10. I would put 10 again as the Professional Developer Plus certification, as the hardest of all certifications to achieve. But before we begin, please click the like button. That helps me to know what is helpful, what is informative to you. And of course, feel free to put any questions that you have about certifications in the comments below. I would love to get them answered. Again, my goal being to help you become certified, a certified Magento professional. So as you probably guessed about the Magento front-end developer certification, this test, of course, covers your knowledge of customizing the front end of the Magento website. That would be, you need to know how to update templates, how to add JavaScript, and not a huge amount on the JavaScript side, as that's pretty well covered in the JavaScript test, which is another topic for another day, and that's a bit of a doozy. You need to be able to customize less files, so the CSS, how things look. It's all about pretty much customizing the front end and implementing the requirements as defined in the design documents that you've been given as you build out a Magento website. As well as you need to be able to troubleshoot these steps. What happens when something breaks? Be able to work with translations. How do you get French or German or Hindi or Chinese, whatever, to be able to display on the front end? So, of course, I'm a big proponent of the most effective way, not the most time efficient way, you might say, but the most effective way to achieve this test is by getting in and doing stuff. Of course, Magento says that if you spend 2 years approximately, I think that's 1.5 to 2 years, as a front-end developer, you should be able to achieve this test fairly simply. However, my experience is just because you're a front-end developer at a Magento-focused agency does not mean you will have the experience to pass this test. Why? The reason is because you might be doing the same customizations. You might be focused on one specific segment of functionality over and over again and never dig into the full offering of what the Magento application gives you. As such, the test does cover the full breadth of front-end development for the Magento application, and it's really important to know what this involves. So, how do we get in? How do we prepare for this test? So first, I always hope you take the time to read a study guide, work through it paragraph by paragraph, follow the links, use this like you're on an investigation to find gold. Remember, the gold that you're finding is not little nuggets that you're going to go home and use to buy a big house or whatever. You are investing in your career and your future. So use this opportunity to expand what you know and how you do it. Seek to be the very best. I'm confident, I would almost say I guarantee you will find additional things. For example, I hope that as you are building modules in your day-to-day work, you're writing the CSS customizations as less files in the modules view directory. You're not modifying the theme itself. And overall, this general knowledge is really important. So here's the deal. Here's what you need, the 2 big points in order to pass. Number 1, if you remember, if you watched the associate developer video, I suggested you build a module, and that module is like an order attribute module. It asks for additional information in the checkout process. So let's take it a step further for the front-end developer certification. I said it doesn't need to look pretty in the associate developer. We're focused on kind of building out the basic functionality, but we're not necessarily focused on the front end. So here's what we are going to change that in this test. For this test, we want to make sure that the admin is fully built out. That means you're going to be working with UI components some. And I know it might sound scary, but I would recommend taking the time and going to Vinay Kopp's mage2.tv. It's mage2.tv. Vinay has put out some incredible videos, very in-depth, with tremendous information about UI components. So if they seem scary to you, go watch those videos, go do what he says. I don't think they will seem very scary to you after that. So, as well as on the front end as well, it's kind of confusing admin HTML versus front end, but we're talking about front end development, meaning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some UI components. So a customer also checking out should see these fields on the front end. Make sure they work well on the front end and things look beautiful. So don't worry about maybe database access as much. Don't worry about the APIs. Don't worry about maybe the building out the structure to make it work in the back. And you can just kind of dummy mock all that stuff up. So don't worry about that. But another idea along those lines is do it right in the Magento way. So how does Magento show the shipping and the billing address? Use that same idea. Use UI components, add JavaScript, make it look beautiful, again, using less. So that's number one. Extend this module or even build this module, this order attributes module. Number one will really pretty much get you maybe 70% of the way there again. It's not comprehensive, but it's going to get you a good amount of this knowledge. But this number two here, and this is covering those extra outliers that are not necessarily covered within this module. You need to be familiar with themes. So create a new theme. Take the time to work through that. How do you customize, for example, the size of images in a theme? And that's an important thing to remember. How do you customize other aspects of a theme? How would you ship a theme? What files are required in a theme? Create new template. Say a new template to modify the category page. Create add a completely different structure to the category page. Change it around. Use a view model, not a block. Use a view model to add new content to this category page. Well, of course, then we need to make sure that the site is translated. So use German or translate into Dutch or Chinese, whatever. Make sure this translation works. And then create new translations, for example, in a PHTML template and a JavaScript file. These two suggestions, I firmly believe, if you are willing to take the time, invest the energy into this, you will 100% pass, and it won't be just barely squeaking by. You will pass with flying colors. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it was informative. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop that in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing your name as a Magento certified front-end developer show up in the Magento certification directory.